Clara had always loved languages. While her friends studied business or medicine, she buried herself in ancient scripts, fascinated by the way forgotten words carried echoes of dead civilizations. She often lingered in the library until late at night, copying fragments of prayers and incantations. That night, she was exhausted, her bag heavy with books. The rain had left the cobblestones wet, reflecting the dim glow of the street lamps. She should have taken the main road, but it was long and winding. Calle Escura was quicker. They said witches once lived there, women who cursed the town with their dying breaths. People whispered that their familiars still roamed the alley. But Clara didn't believe in such things, at least, not yet. She heard it before she saw it, a low, rhythmic purr. Then, from the shadows, the black cat appeared. Its fur seemed to swallow the lamplight. Its golden eyes locked onto hers. Clara forced a nervous laugh. "Hey, kitty, don't scare me like that." The cat tilted its head. And then, in a voice that made her skin crawl, it whispered, "Memento mori, omnes mori mini." Remember death, all of you will die. The whisperer. Clara stumbled back. Maybe she was hallucinating from exhaustion. Maybe it was her mind, steeped in Latin all day, playing tricks. But the cat's lips moved. The words were clear. "Libera nos a malo. Deliver us from evil." Its whisper grew sharper, colder. "Aperite portum. Open the gate." The ground beneath her vibrated faintly, as if something stirred below the cobblestones. The alley darkened, the lamplights flickering as though strangled by unseen hands. Clara's breath caught in her throat. She fled. She didn't remember how she reached her apartment, only that her pulse thundered in her ears. Inside, she locked every door and window. She tried to laugh it off. Stress, exhaustion, nothing more. But then she saw her book. One of her Latin texts lay open on her desk, though she was certain she had left it shut. Fresh ink covered the page, written in a hurried, jagged hand. "Porta aperta est. We heard you." And on the window ledge, staring in with those golden eyes, sat the cat. Its mouth moved, whispering words she could not hear through the glass. Echoes of the dead. The following nights grew worse. Clara dreamed of voices chanting in Latin, hundreds speaking in unison. She saw black shapes writhing in the corners of her room, crawling on the ceiling. Everywhere she went, the cat followed, sometimes in the street, sometimes across the courtyard, sometimes on the roof. Always watching, always whispering. She confided in her professor, an old man who specialized in ecclesiastical Latin. His face paled when she described the cat's words. "You must not repeat them aloud," he warned. "Those are ritual invocations. They are not prayers, but commands. The last phrase, aperite portum, that is a summoning." Clara's mouth went dry. Summoning, what? The professor did not answer. He simply gave her a crucifix and told her not to walk alone after dark. That night, Clara woke to find the crucifix burned black on her nightstand. And at the foot of her bed, the black cat sat, whispering. The gate. Clara's sanity began to fray. Her apartment walls bled with Latin text only she could see, inked in shadows. Her books rearranged themselves, always opening to invocations of summoning. She stopped sleeping, afraid of the dreams. Then, on the seventh night, the cat spoke louder than ever, no longer whispering but chanting. Its voice was not alone, hundreds joined in, echoing through her apartment. Porta aperta est. Porta aperta est. The gate is open. The floorboards split. A stench like burning flesh filled the air. From the cracks, hands clawed their way up, pale, eyeless, screaming without sound. They dragged themselves into her room, shadows in broken human shapes. The cat sat on her desk, tail swaying slowly, eyes glowing like fire. It leaned forward, and in perfect Latin, it hissed the last words Clara would ever hear clearly. Ingressus est. Infernum hic est. He has entered. Hell is here. Father Salazar. Clara couldn't endure it anymore. By the 8th night, she hadn't slept. The cat followed her everywhere. When she covered her ears, the whispers grew louder inside her skull. In desperation, she sought out Father Salazar, the town's oldest priest. His church was crumbling, its walls stained with age, but he still performed Mass for the few who attended. When Clara told him about the cat, the words, the shadows, his wrinkled face went pale. "You saw it on Calle Escura?" he asked. "Yes," Clara whispered. He nodded grimly. "That alley is cursed. The witches burned there centuries ago, called upon something older than hell itself. They gave it a vessel. A guardian. The Murmuratus Felis, the whispering cat. It speaks in Latin because it is bound to ritual. Every word it utters opens the gate wider." Clara shook her head, trembling. "Then what do I do? How do I make it stop?" Father Salazar looked at her with pity. "You cannot. Once the cat has chosen you, it does not stop. Unless..." He trailed off. "Unless what?" she demanded. "Unless you offer another soul in your place. .. The bargain. The suggestion sickened Clara. Sacrifice someone else. Hand them over to whatever clawed at the edge of reality. She refused. But the whispers grew worse. The cat no longer just spoke Latin, it now spoke her name. Clara, 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 aperite portum. Every time she tried to sleep, it sat at the edge of her bed, its golden eyes unblinking, whispering faster and faster until her nose bled from the pressure in her skull. One night, her neighbor Roni knocked on her door, concerned about the noises. Clara opened it, but behind Roni, the cat sat in the hall, tail twitching, whispering one word clearly. "Offer." Clara slammed the door. She refused. She would not damn someone else. But in the mirror that night, she saw her reflection smiling when she was not. And her reflection whispered, in her own voice, "If you do not offer, you are the offering." The descent. Days blurred together. Clara stopped going to the university. Shadows followed her everywhere, stretching unnaturally, even at noon. At times she heard chanting in the wind, in the pipes, in the creak of the floor. She tried burning her books, but the next morning they returned, stacked neatly on her desk, ink dripping from the pages like blood. Finally, Father Salazar came to her apartment with holy water and relics. The cat was waiting on the windowsill. The priest sprinkled water, reciting prayers in Latin. The cat only laughed, a guttural, raspy laugh that made the walls tremble. Sacer ignis non nocet. The holy fire does not harm me. The crucifix in Father Salazar's hand snapped in two. He collapsed to his knees, clutching his chest, whispering, "God help us," before a black shadow dragged him screaming into the floorboards. Clara was left alone. The cat hopped onto her bed, curled its tail around her arm, and whispered, "Nunc tu es nostra. Now you are ours." The gate opens. On the 13th night, Clara's apartment became the altar. The walls bled Latin text. The floor split open, revealing an endless abyss. From it rose the dead, bodies without eyes, jaws hanging loose, clawing their way upward. Clara screamed, but the whispers drowned her out. The cat stood on her chest as she fell to the floor, its eyes glowing like molten gold. Ingressus est. He has entered. From the abyss rose a figure, tall, robed in black, with horns of bone curling upward. Its face was hidden by a veil of shadows, but its voice was many voices at once. "You opened the gate for us, Clara," it said. "And for that, you were mine." The last thing she saw before darkness swallowed her was the black cat, licking its paw casually, as if nothing had happened. Weeks later, students whispered about Clara's disappearance. Some said she ran away. Some said she went insane. But in Calle Oscura, the cat waits. Its golden eyes glow in the dark. It whispers in Latin, waiting for the next passerby to listen. Memento mori, omnes mori mini. Remember death, all of you will die. And if you hear it, the gate has already begun to open. End.